I couldn't tell anybody that. I couldn't show that because I didn't think it was, I thought it was weird. I thought it was crazy. I thought there's no way, like, this doesn't make any sense. Hey guys, welcome back to Team B. I hope you're all having a great day. Today's video is going to be a little different. It's not going to be like anything we've posted on our channel thus far, and it's just going to be me, and it's about something that I knew I wanted to talk about when we started this channel, because the whole point of this channel was to be able to have a way of self-expression for us, and I really like to, tell stories and put out things that make people smile or feel something, and this is something very close to me and very personal to me, and it's something about me that I want to share. And I know, like, we don't have that many subscribers, that many views yet, but this is something that I just hope if someone stumbles across it and they can relate to it, that they feel a little better, because it's something that's really impacted my life in not such a good way necessarily, and I want anyone going through it to know that they're not alone. But I'm not somebody who shares really personal stuff about them just randomly just because, so this genuinely is really because I feel like this is something that is not talked about enough. It's talked about, and you'll see what I mean in a minute, but it's talked about, but not in the way that I think it should be talked about. And I want young people who are going through this to understand that they are not the only ones feeling this. And you're probably wondering what I'm even talking about, unless you read the title, but that still probably isn't exactly covering what I'm actually trying to say. Today I want to talk about anxiety disorders. That really is a liability in living life, and that's kind of what I've struggled with since I was really, like, as long as I can remember, like really young. And I don't really have as much problem with it anymore, but especially when I was a kid, like between second grade and middle school, somewhere in there, that it was at its peak, and it was really hard, and I genuinely felt like the only person going through what I was going through. It's really taken a toll on how I feel about the world around me, because for so long I felt so alone in this, and now I know that I wasn't alone, but I had no idea. So I have generalized anxiety disorder, so GAD, and I hate even saying the disorder that I have, because I'm not somebody who likes to name, I'm not someone who likes to be like, well, I was diagnosed with this. I don't like talking about it. I really don't. Like, I want to talk about it right now, but at the same time, I don't like talking about it. I feel like there's such a stigma around diagnoses and disorders, and it's all just kind of like, you don't know nowadays if anyone's really genuinely telling the truth. And that sounds really bad, but I've met so many people that want to list every disorder you could possibly talk about and say that they have it somehow in their lives and it impacts them somehow. And for someone who's really struggled with this, and I'm not saying, everyone's a liar, like, I'm just saying for me, I do know people who have totally bullshitted the stuff that I have, and it really it rubs me the wrong way, because this genuinely impacted me. But GAD is basically, it's probably not the same for everyone, but for me, it was classified by a very intense fear of one specific thing for a period of time. And what I mean by that is, like, say you're sitting on a train track and you're, like, stuck in place and you can't move, and then a train's coming towards you. Like, imagine the impending doom you would feel. Like, I'm gonna die no matter what. Like, there's no way around this. I'm going to die. That's what it feels like, but it's targeted towards a specific thing. The worst this was around middle school, or like 5th grade to like 7th grade, I'd say. And there would just be certain things, like, I remember the first time I heard about what a seizure was, like epilepsy and having seizures. I was so scared that I was gonna have a seizure because it sounded terrifying. And I don't have epilepsy, I've never had a seizure, like, I've never even seen a seizure in person, but I was so scared that I was gonna have one. I thought somehow I was gonna have one. And so anytime I heard the word, I would freak out, I would, like, shut down, and I mean, you'd think, when were you hearing the word seizure? But we happened to read a book in 5th grade, and I vividly remember, I think it was called Freak the Mighty, and one of the main characters in that book had a seizure, and we were reading it aloud in class, because, like, where you'll read a book aloud in class, and people will take turns reading. We were reading that book in my 5th grade class, and that part came up where this kid had a seizure. I just remember I stood up out of my seat. I didn't say anything. I needed to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. I almost puked. I sat there. I had a full-on panic attack because I heard the word. And then with choking, there was a phase with that where I I don't remember how, but I had seen on some show or some movie somebody choked on something and like had to go to the hospital or something, like it got stuck in their throat. So I couldn't eat lunch at school for like a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, because I was so scared that I was gonna choke on my food, and I couldn't eat unless I was at home with my parents. And I couldn't tell people, like, I'm not eating because I'm scared of choking. So I would just kind of like eat, and it would take me a really long time to swallow because it would feel like it's gonna get stuck in my throat. And I know to most people right now that sounds completely crazy, and I agree, that's completely crazy. But that was how it felt. Like I literally had to struggle to swallow every bite of food. And going to assemblies where it would be crowded and loud, and I would freak out because I feel like I don't have control over if I want to leave or not. I'm stuck. My middle school was part of a bigger school, and so it was, the middle school of course was 6th through 8th grade, but there were also kindergarten through 8th grade at the entire school. So there was like kindergarten through 5th grade, and then 6th through 8th grade, all in the same school. So we'd have assemblies, and it would fit the entire school in that gymnasium. And I remember people were squished together and it was hot, and I would freak out. Like I couldn't tell anybody that. I couldn't show that because I didn't think it was, I thought it was weird. Nobody ever expressed to me that this is a chemical imbalance in your mind making you think something's gonna go wrong. I thought I was just a complete pussy. I thought that I was scared of nothing. And that happened, you know, for years. I would just be freaking out in my head, and I'd have to just shut up and control it. And of course, like, I mean, there were times where it was so bad where I just had to, like, get up, and people were probably like, what is this kid doing? But I would get up and be like, I need to go somewhere to the bathroom or something. Like, and it never really affected, like, no one ever asked me about it. But, like, I know that there were times where I would shut down, and I think people noticed that. But I don't know for sure. Maybe they didn't. If I had just known that this was a thing that people went through, I would have felt 10 times better. Because all I knew was that I was this kid who felt so out of control of myself, and everyone else felt so okay. And of course, there was probably, you know, kids in there somewhere that had the same problem I did, but, like, to me, the world I was seeing in front of me was nothing like what I felt in my head. My dad actually went through the same, I think I got it from him, but he went through the same anxiety problems when he was a kid. And the more my parents started to realize that this might be what's going on here, like I would freak out, and I think it used to bother them a little because they didn't know what was going on either. But then once it kind of, you know, we kind of got track of what might be happening, I remember he would kind of acknowledge things to me when I was having panic attacks. He'd be like, hey, I know what you're feeling, like I've been through this, I understand. And when he was a kid, he didn't have any acknowledgement of what he was feeling, and that's what I felt. It's so scary and sad that, like, that's so real to me and to him, and some people don't even understand it. And it's just scary. I just remember hearing him acknowledge me made me feel better. It didn't take it away because I still felt scared, and there would be times where I didn't even believe it. I was like, well, you don't know what I'm feeling right now, this is totally different, you've never felt this before. But just, it did help hearing that acknowledgement of like, oh my god, somebody else gets this. Because I'd never seen it. I'd never seen anybody relate to that. I'd never seen anybody have a panic attack. And I know there's other people right now that feel that way. And I know that anxiety is becoming more mainstream, but I don't know if it's in the right way. Because it's kind of an aesthetic now. I mean, I know that sounds super edgy, but like, genuinely, it's an aesthetic. It's, people almost think, they don't think it's cool to have anxiety, but they want to say they have it because it seems more relatable and vulnerable. And yes, I'm doing it right now. I'm telling you I have anxiety, so I'm not going to say that talking about it doesn't mean you have it. That's bullshit. But it's definitely becoming a thing where people will say they're having a panic attack when they're not, when they don't know what it feels like. And that's fine. Like, I get it. I mean, I make the OCD jokes. I say, you know, I have OCD really bad about this, but I really don't have OCD. You know, like, I get it. That's always been a thing, but now I feel like it's an aesthetic. Like, to be broken is an aesthetic. At the same time, there's a good side to it, because I feel like kids now who might be going through that will feel like, oh my god, like, there's all these adults are admitting to this and it's being talked about, and maybe that's what I'm dealing with. But when I was a kid, I didn't really have that. I didn't know what was going on. I went through a period, like a few months of this. I don't remember when, but I think it was 5th grade again. 5th grade was a horrible year for me. But I was so scared that I wasn't gonna be able to fall asleep. Like, I was so worried about that, which makes no sense, because obviously you'll fall asleep eventually, like when you're tired enough. But I would remember laying awake in bed crying for like hours because I was so scared I couldn't sleep, and my parents were probably like, what do we do? Like, what do we do? Like, I didn't want to be doing it. at all. And and now, like, obviously that doesn't happen. None of this stuff happens anymore, thank God. And the point I'm trying to make about this is not that my childhood was horrible and I was alone the whole time, because that's not true at all. I had support, I had plenty of fun times, like, I had friends, like, I had a good childhood. But there was a layer of, like, you're different than everyone else, and that's so edgy sounding because everybody's different, and now I know that's not true, but at the time I felt like, oh my God, like, nobody is like you. Nobody. And I don't want anyone to feel like that, especially kids. They don't want to admit that they're scared. Adults, I think it's easier. Adults, you can go to your therapist or find someone to talk about, or look it up on Google. When I was a kid, I didn't want to ask. I just knew I was freaking out, and I thought I was just a loser. You have a right to get it fixed and have a right to know what's going on. You're not weak. You're not, you're not like these horrible things. You have a bad setup in here. That's all. Like, that's all it is. And if you know anyone, or you might have a kid or know a kid who's going through this, just, like, tell them, like, this isn't your fault. Like, it messes you up when you don't know what's going on. It really does. It makes you feel out of control of yourself. And, like, I mean, when I entered high school, I was so done with it. I was so done with the panicking. I was so done with the feeling like I was, not gonna live my full life. I was so scared, like, I wasn't gonna be able to function in society, which clearly, I mean, now I am fine, but, like, then I was so scared. And you get sick of it. You get so sick of it, and hopefully you can do something about it. And so I started doing things that I wouldn't have done. And I remember in 6th grade, we did Cats, which is, like, if you don't know what that is, it's like poems that a guy wrote, and then it was made into a musical, but it's about cats. And so, like, each cat is, like, a different musical number. It was really high quality for a 6th grade play. I'm gonna say that. It was very, very shooting for the stars, but we were in art school, so I guess that was, like, the point. I remember there was one part where you didn't have to speak. One part. You walked across the stage with a sign. That was it. I don't remember what the sign said. I don't remember, but I wanted that part so bad because I was so scared of fainting on stage. I was so scared. So I remember someone had already claimed the sign part. I don't remember how, I don't remember who it was, but I remember I had my mom email my teacher because I was so scared, and I had to have that part because I was so not going to talk on stage. So I got that part, and I walked across the stage, and that was it. And, like, that was it. And I'd always wanted to do theater. Like, I mean, I'm gay, so no, I'm just kidding. But like I said, I like storytelling. I like to self-express. I wanted to do theater in high school, and it was hard. I was terribly nervous, but I also made literally 3 of the best friends I'd ever had through theater class and through doing those plays. And it was great. It was this was the fruit that I reaped from saying, fuck you, anxiety. Like, do that stuff. Do it. And I'm not saying face every fear, because all of it's not, like, if you're scared of spiders, like, it's probably not an anxiety thing, it's probably you're scared of spiders. But, like, if it's something that you feel impending doom about and you know it's irrational, just fight it. Like, it's hard. I know it's hard, but you have to fight it. You have to say, this isn't who I want to be, and you have to know that this isn't you. You can change it. And it's not all my sheer force of will, I also talked to people, and I had medication, like, things you do, but you have to be able to just control yourself. That's the best way to get through it. I don't want anyone to feel alone. That's all. Like, that was the point of this. It's a story that it's a part of my life that I'm not exactly proud of. I'm not ashamed of it, but I'm also not, like, wanting to tell everybody about it, but it is a big part of my life, and I feel like nobody else is everyone's scared to talk about it. Like, it's they only want to talk about it when it's in a cool or vulnerable way. No one talks about the truth of it. Like, I was scared of a lot of things that I shouldn't have been, and no one wants to talk about it in that way. Like, it sucks. It's not pretty. It's not fun. It's not romantic. It sucks. But you gotta know that somebody went through it. So if you know anybody, whoever stumbles across this video, if you know anybody who's going through this, just tell them. Like, be like, hey, like, I don't know what you're going through, but I know it's not your fault. It means the world. Like, so, yeah. Also, I'm sorry we haven't posted. We didn't post last week, which we've been on a week-by-week schedule, but we didn't post last week. We tried to film a video, and it just didn't really pan out, so we didn't do it. But there should be the smoothie video coming soon, hopefully. So, like, probably tonight, maybe? I don't know. Not long after this video gets posted, I'm guessing. This was just kind of a break in the funniness, because we like being funny. We like having fun. This was just kind of a break in it, just to get you, like, I don't want to say get to know me, because it's not who I want to be known as. Like, this isn't really something I even struggle with as much anymore. I really don't, but it's important to me. That's what it is. It's more of an important message I want to send. So, thank you guys if you got through this video without falling asleep. I appreciate that. But stay tuned for more videos with me and Taylor, and y'all have a great day.